Planning your next big trip abroad? Picture it. Sunsets over the Seine, haggling for spices in a bustling Marrakesh marketplace, maybe finally achieving that lifelong dream of understanding what the heck a Vegemite sandwich is supposed to taste like. But if you're an American holding an American passport, you might want to be very, very careful where you try to flash that metaphorical 20. Because, as it turns out, there are some places in this world where that little blue booklet doesn't get you automatic entry into an all-you-can-eat buffet of cultural delights. In fact, in some corners of the globe, whipping out an American passport is about as welcome as showing up to a vegan potluck with a bucket of KFC. Due to a tangled web of political tensions, visa restrictions, and some good old-fashioned historical baggage, there are countries out there that are making it abundantly clear. Americans, you are not exactly on the VIP list for 2025, and in this video, we're diving headfirst into that steaming pile of geopolitical awkwardness to bring you the top 10 countries that have slapped restrictions, bans, or just a general sense of we'd rather you not on American travelers. First up on our whirlwind tour of places Americans might want to avoid is a country that needs no introduction, mostly because it's been making headlines more often than a Kardashian at a pumpkin spice latte giveaway. That's right, folks, we're talking about China. Now, China and the US, they're like those two roommates who started off promising to split the rent and utilities fairly, but somehow always ended up arguing over whose turn it was to empty the dishwasher. Except in this case, instead of dirty dishes, they're arguing about trade, politics, and security issues that make your average roommate squabble over a thermostat setting look like a tea party hosted by the Teletubbies. We're talking exit bans that could leave you stranded in a country where you can't even read the fortune cookie messages. Look, I'm not saying you'll be accused of spying if you order a plate of Peking duck without sharing, but let's just say keeping your nose clean and your social media squeaky clean is probably a good idea if you absolutely, positively have to go. Next up, we're hopping on over to Somalia, a country that even your most adventurous friend who brags about their totally authentic yak butter tea experience in Nepal would probably avoid. And for good reason. Somalia is to safety what a screen door is to a submarine. It offers the illusion of protection, but ultimately won't stop the inevitable. We're talking about a country where terrorist groups like Al-Shabaab are as common as Starbucks in Seattle, except instead of offering you a venti latte with an extra shot, they're more likely to offer you a one-way ticket to a hostage situation. Kidnapping and ransom demands are about as common as traffic jams in Los Angeles, and if you think your trusty American passport will save you, you're in for a rude awakening. So unless you're a seasoned negotiator with a black belt in Krav Maga and a burning desire to star in your own real-life action thriller where the odds of a happy ending are slim to none, I'd say maybe cross Somalia off that bucket list. From the frying pan into the fire, our next stop is Libya, a country that makes Somalia look like a relaxing spa getaway. Imagine a place where political instability isn't just a problem, it's practically a national pastime. We're talking more factions than a high school cafeteria, each vying for power with the subtlety of a bull in a china shop. Extremist groups roam around like pigeons in a park, except instead of leaving behind a little present on your windshield, they're more likely to leave behind a lasting impression of fear and chaos. And if you think you can just pop into the US Embassy for a little help, think again. So, unless you've got a thing for dodging bullets and playing Russian roulette with your travel itinerary, I'd say Libya is best enjoyed from the comfort of your couch, preferably while watching a documentary about somewhere far, far safer. Chapter 4, Yemen, where even the goats look suspicious. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to enter a war zone, literally. Yemen, our next destination, is a country so embroiled in conflict that even the goats look at you sideways. We're talking active militant groups, a humanitarian crisis that would make Mother Teresa weep, and anti-American sentiment so thick you could cut it with a knife. And let's not forget the complete and utter lack of a functioning US embassy. Look, I'm all for exploring the world and expanding your horizons, but there's a fine line between adventurous and downright reckless, and Yemen is currently tap dancing all over that line with steel-toed boots. Chapter 5. Syria, just don't. Our next stop is Syria, a country that's been through the ringer more times than a college student's laundry during finals week. We're talking a civil war that's been raging longer than some YouTube beauty vloggers have been alive, political instability that makes a game of Jenga look like a model of consistency, and a risk of kidnapping so high it should come with its own warning label. The US government decided to pull out of Syria faster than a kid who just heard the ice cream truck jingle, leaving any American foolish enough to venture there completely high and dry. And if you think you can just blend in with the locals, well, let's just say that, unless you've mastered the art of speaking Arabic while simultaneously looking incredibly inconspicuous, you're about as inconspicuous as a giraffe in a library. Chapter 6. Venezuela, Paradise Lost, and possibly your luggage too. Next up, we're heading over to Venezuela, a country that was once synonymous with stunning beaches, vibrant culture, and delicious arepas. Now it's known for something else entirely, a whole lot of nope. See, Venezuela's got this complicated relationship with the US, kind of like that couple who keeps breaking up and getting back together, even though everyone knows it's a terrible idea. We're talking arrests on trumped-up charges, a crime rate that would make even the most hardened New Yorker nervous, and a general sense that Americans are about as welcome as a fart in a spacesuit. Well, look who's back on the maybe don't list for American travelers. Russia, that old familiar dance partner in the tango of geopolitical tension, is once again making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Remember those good old days of the Cold War? Yeah, those were fun, weren't they? Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because things are about to get frosty again. Tensions between the US and Russia are higher than a giraffe on a trampoline, and American travelers are caught in the middle like a vegetarian at a sausage fest. The US State Department is practically begging Americans to avoid Russia like it's a pop quiz on a subject they haven't studied for, and with good reason. Arbitrary detentions? Check. Travel bans on American officials and organizations? You betcha. Chapter 8. Afghanistan, where even your Uber driver won't go. Our next stop is Afghanistan, a country that's been through more turmoil than a washing machine on spin cycle. And unfortunately for American travelers, it's not exactly the safest place to be right now. I mean, we're talking about a country where the Taliban is calling the shots, and let's just say they're not exactly known for their warm hospitality and all-inclusive resorts. The US Embassy? Gone, baby, gone. So if you find yourself in a bind, you're pretty much on your own. We're talking a high risk of kidnapping, attacks on Westerners, and a general atmosphere of get out while you still can. Chapter 9. Iran visas and restrictions and tours, oh my. Up next is Iran, a country with a rich history, beautiful architecture, and enough political tension with the US to power a small city. Now, Iran isn't completely off limits to Americans, but let's just say visiting requires more paperwork than filing your taxes. We're talking visa restrictions thicker than a bowl of Iranian stew, and good luck getting approved if you've got journalist, activist, or person who enjoys breathing freely on your resume. And even if you manage to snag that elusive visa, get ready for the guided tour of a lifetime. Oh, and did I mention the whole risk of being detained for espionage thing? Yeah, that's a thing. Chapter 10. North Korea, the Hermit Kingdom says hard pass. And finally we arrive at the mother of all don't even think about it's. The country that makes even the most daring traveler reconsider their life choices. North Korea. This is it, folks. The grand finale, the pièce de résistance of places Americans should avoid like the plague, or perhaps more accurately, like a particularly nasty strain of the flu. Since 2017, the US government has basically slapped a big, fat, do not enter sign on North Korea, and for good reason. This is a country where unauthorized entry isn't just frowned upon, it's practically a one-way ticket to a labor camp. Seriously, folks, unless you have a burning desire to become an international incident, maybe skip North Korea. Outrow pack your bags carefully. So there you have it, folks, the top 10 countries that are about as welcoming to Americans as a mosquito at a nudist colony. Look, I know it's tough. That wanderlust is real, and the world is a big, beautiful place, but sometimes you gotta be smart, you gotta be safe, and you gotta accept that there are some places where your American passport is about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. So go forth, intrepid travelers, and explore the world. Just maybe steer clear of these 10 particular destinations.